Alright, I need to come up with a new intro. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy. God, what am I, 14? Hey, y'all, how's it going? This video is meant for brand new players. I'm talking about you just downloaded the game and you don't really know what to do. I'm not going to go through the maiden voyage, which I would recommend all brand new players to do. So I'm going to kind of skip that part. But past that, this tutorial should help you get started. So all that being said, I've been playing Sea of Thieves for a few months. And when I first started playing it, when I got to this point, I did the maiden voyage. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't really know what Sea of Thieves was. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what the objective was. And so there's a little bit bigger of a learning curve for me. So I'm kind of making this video to help people that are at that stage get over that hump, get to a point where they feel more comfortable playing Sea of Thieves, and also just to give everybody a good understanding of what Sea of Thieves is. So, first off, for those that don't know, Sea of Thieves is an open world game. So, when you get into the game, which we're about to do in a second, you're going to be playing against, there's going to be other players on the server. So, each server can have up to 6 ships. So, let's kind of get into the ships first. So, let's skip Arena. We can talk about that on a different video. So, you're going to click Adventure. So, when you're starting out, I didn't really understand the different ships. So to quickly explain, these are just different size ships in that they hold different amount of players. So a sloop is 2 players, a brigantine is 3 players, and a galleon is 4 players. And they each kind of have different advantages and disadvantages. I'll get into that in a different video. But the main thing to know here, it's just simply the number of players. That's really the main difference. So I'm going to do sloop just for purposes of this video, but if you have more players to play with you or you want to meet new people, you can do the bigger options. Alright, so click on sloop. So this screen, open crew, closed crew. So the difference between open crew and closed crew is open crew is you're going to get matched up with other players that are also searching for that same kind of ship, whereas closed crew, no one's going to join on you. The only way someone can join on you is if it's one of your friends that joins on you through your friends list, or if you invite them to your game. So that's really the difference. So I'm going to click close crew to start. And so you'll come here. So this is where you'll have the opportunity to invite friends or click set sail. So when we click set sail, we're going to be put into an open world with other players. And so just real briefly on Sea of Thieves, we talked about it's an open world. You're going to be put into a map where there's going to be potentially up to 6 ships on a server, and it can be any combination of the ones we just talked about. But all of those ships are going to be other player ships. So in addition to that, there's several PvE aspects of the game, and we'll get into those. But just to be aware is you'll run across other players, and you'll also run across computer AI in this game. So maybe that's something you guys already know. It's something that's obvious. To me, it wasn't. I ran across other players. I was unsure if that was a person or if it was just AI in the game. So just to be clear, it is other people that you'll be put in the game with. So let's go ahead and set sail. So something else to mention, so I'm on PC. If you're on Xbox, there's some additional options where you can limit your server search to only play against other Xbox players, but this is a cross-platform game, so if you don't limit that search, you will be playing against PC and Xbox players. If you're new and you're an Xbox player, just to make you aware, one of the main disadvantages for the Xbox players, while I would argue the controls are a disadvantage, the main one, and I would say the biggest one, is how long it takes the Xbox to load into the game. So whereas you saw I loaded into the game relatively quickly, if you're on Xbox, it's going to take much longer. And it's not just loading into the game. There's going to be situations kind of like respawn type situations where it's going to take an Xbox player 2 to 3 times longer to essentially respawn than it would a PC player. All right, so when you spawn in, if it's a fresh spawn, you're going to start at an outpost. So this is an outpost. So at outpost, you can buy things. You can buy some voyages. We'll get into that real quickly, but this is just kind of the starting point. So the first thing I always do is I start running around, and so these are barrels. So in these barrels, there's going to be supplies, and we'll talk about the supplies in a little bit, but that's kind of the first thing you always want to do is you want to basically run around and empty all the barrels. Okay, so before I really get into that, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I kind of want to explain a big part that I didn't really understand when I first joined. So let's go to the ship really quick so I can show everybody. So the first time you play the game, you're going to start off with a pistol and a sword, or a flintlock is what it's called in the game, but it's a pistol, okay? So when you're on your ship, you're going to see this box. So this is how you're going to start out. You're going to have this and a sword, okay? So you'll have a sword and you'll have a pistol. So that's just kind of the default layout. So in here you can see there's different types of swords, right? And I didn't really understand this when I first started playing, but all of these are just skins. There's no impact to the gameplay. It doesn't make them stronger. It doesn't make them weaker. It's just how the sword looks. So brand new, whether you're a brand new player, you've been playing this game for years, you have the same weapons. There's no advantage for having played the game for a long time, like in some other games where you might have better weapons. That's not the case here. You have access to the same weapons. So if you come to this box, you can change out your weapon. So if instead of the flintlock, this Eye of Reach is basically like a sniper rifle. So we'll kind of show you. So this, it's like a pistol, a little bit harder to aim. So that's kind of the pistol. There's a blunderbuss. So this is kind of like a shotgun. And then there's the Eye of Reach, which is like a sniper rifle. So this damage-wise is similar to the pistol. It's just you can zoom in a little bit. The blunderbuss is like a shotgun, so the closer you are to someone when you fire it, the more damage. The further away, the less damage to no damage. So that's the different weapons. The important thing to note there is that everybody has access to the same weapons, and there's no advantage based on the way they look. All right. So kind of the next thing I want to talk about is a little bit about the ship. You may have learned some of this in the tutorial, but every ship is going to be basically have the same parts. They're going to be a little bit different. So the bigger ships are going to have more cannons, for example. But every ship has cannons. Every ship has these cannonball barrels. So that's what we're kind of collecting. So you have your regular cannons. You have your fire bombs. You have your blunder bombs, and you have your chain shot. So the regular cannon, you can only shoot them out of cannons, and it does the damage like you'd think a cannonball would do. The fire bombs and the blunder bombs, let me pick up a fire bomb. You can load it into a cannon, and if you shoot it and hit a ship with it, it'll set it on fire. But you can also throw these. So when you're doing PvP or you're fighting against the computer, you can use these to throw them and set things on fire. The blunder bomb is similar to the firebomb in that you can throw it and you shoot out of the cannon. It's basically a knockback and it does a little bit of damage. These are way more effective as a PvP type thing for throwing them at people. They're pretty powerful if you can use them correctly. But essentially you throw it, it's going to knock people back, and it's going to do a little bit of damage depending on if you hit them directly or if you hit near them. Okay. So that's basically all of the cannonballs. Every ship is going to have this. It's going to have a top and a bottom barrel. So you got to be aware there's two different barrels, and it's going to be that way on every ship. Okay. This is the ammo crate. So if you shoot your weapon like I did, so talk about the HUD real briefly. It's very simple. In the bottom right, you have your ammo. So you have 5 shots. Once you run out, that's it. You have to come to the ammo crate and get more ammo. This is going to be the map table, so you can kind of zoom in, zoom out. This is the different islands. So if you need to go somewhere, this is where you're going to come and figure out where you need to go. You can mark things, unmark them, and it'll give you kind of a direction that you need to head. So come down here. This is the water barrel. So we talked about the fire bombs. If your ship's on fire for some reason, this is where you come, you pull your bucket out, you get the water, and you throw it on the fire, and it puts the fire out. Alright, wood barrel. It's only got one barrel. So, and that's your wood. So wood is what you use to repair your ship. So if you get hit with a cannonball or you take damage in some way, it's going to put a hole in your ship. Water will start filling your ship, and you would use the plank to repair it. And then lastly, food. So when you take damage, so let me give you an example. Alright, so I took damage, right? Now I can come and get some food, eat it, and it restores your health. And the only time your health shows up in the HUD on the bottom left is when you've been damaged. Alright, so last two things real quickly. You probably, just to be thorough, this is the anchor. You always start with anchor down. You want to pull it up. We'll get more into kind of the tactics of the anchor, but that's kind of the gist of it. When it's down, you can't move. You pull it up, and now you can move. Then you have this, adjust the sails, so you can see the wind on my screen. You can adjust the sails to have the wind in the sails. And then this lowers and raises the sail. So that's how you move. Alright, that's the basics of the ship. So some other basics I just want to run through very quickly before we wrap this video up. So Xbox is going to be a little different, but for the most part, it's going to be, the buttons are going to be different, but everything's the same. So you're going to have this wheel. So this is how you're going to access different things. So again, all of this, every player, whether you're brand new or you've been playing for a while, has the same exact equipment. It just may look a little bit different based on skins you can get in the game. So you have a telescope to zoom in. You have a shovel to dig up treasure. You have a lantern. This is for if it's dark, or in certain situations you might need it to use to fight skeletons. You have a bucket, and I kind of skipped over the bucket, but this is to help you put out fires on your ship, for example. You have a compass. This is, this is very helpful. You'll need it for your voyages, but you also need it for direction while you're sailing around. And then food, all right? And then you can do more. I'm not going to go through each of these, but I'm going to go real quickly. So this is like a megaphone when you're talking in-game with players. It makes it more audible to players in the distance. So in this game, and I'll cover this very quickly, when you talk in-game, you can hear other players that are talking in-game, and it's proximity based. So the further away, you may not be able to hear them at all. As they come close to you, you will be able to hear them. And this is for only players on other crews. Your crew you can hear at all times, but it's proximity based. So if they're farther away, if you use this, hold it up, it will amplify and let people further away hear you. You have instruments. So this is an instrument. This is an instrument. Instrument. You can play music in the game. This is a to drink the grog. So it's just kind of a fun thing to do in the game. There's no real purpose to it. You have a fishing pole, so you can fish in the game. You can catch fish. This is a clock. So certain voyages you have to do by a certain day and time. So this is, you can see in game what time it is, what day it is. And then that's all of that. So the other thing you can access through here is the quests. So when you get into voyages, this is where your maps and your riddles will show up, is here. Alright, so that's basically what I wanted to cover in this first video. I think in the next video we'll talk about how do you get gold, and what are the different accommodations, and that's kind of, and we'll get more into what should you be doing while you're playing. But really the intent of this first video was to kind of talk about some of the basics, some of the things that I was extremely confused about when I first started playing, and it'll definitely get you headed in the right direction as far as when you load in, if you know these few basic things. Alright guys, that's today's video. Thanks for coming and hanging out. If you like the video, do me a favor and subscribe. There's going to be more follow-on videos to this to come. So if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified when those come out. Also, if you're interested, one of the biggest tips I have for new players to learn is to watch experienced players play it. And the best place, in my opinion, to do that is on Twitch. So I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/whoopsthewee, as you can see below. But even if it's not me, if you want to follow a different person, definitely do that. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to see the different things in the game and figure out how things work. Also, I have a Discord. You can see the link below. Come hang out with us on Discord. It's a great place to interact directly with me and the people I play with. If you have questions, it's a great way to get answers. So definitely come check that out. And also, if you follow me on Twitter, I post some funny little clips, things that happen during my stream on there. So give that a follow and check those out. They're generally pretty interesting, glitches, things like that. So again, guys, thanks for hanging out and have a good day. Oh my God.